hold your breath, stay on the seat, so I can review the movie. Wonka tells the origin story of Willy Wonka before he became the world-famous and eccentric chocolatier. Hello and welcome back to another review from HLHReviews. Today I will be reviewing Wonka, which is an origin story of the character Willy Wonka. The original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory from 1971 is one of my favorite movies of all time. I happen to have watched the movie as a young kid without knowing anything about it. I happened to be at my dad's house, and one of the DVDs that he had just so happened to be this movie, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And I had no idea what to think of it, just from looking at the title alone. Like, I had no idea what type of movie this was going to be. So I decided to put it on, and my face was glued to that screen the whole time. I pretty much enjoyed every second of it as a kid. And over the years since seeing that movie, I've always enjoyed the movie for its story, its message, its songs, and even the characters.
All right, where is it? Why haven't they found it?
Veruca, sweetheart, I'm not a magician. Give me time.
I want it now.
Yes, even that bitch. The Tim Burton film, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, like, that's a fine movie by itself. It'll just never be as good as the 1971 movie. When I saw that Timothèe Chalamet was going to play the character in a movie that was basically going to be an origin story, it got me pretty much excited for it. You know, the trailers came out. I was pretty much all excited for it. And just having seen it, I enjoy the pure imagination that this film offered me. Let's go over why. Starting this off with the positives, the movie does a very decent job of keeping the tone of the original Willy Wonka film. It's light, fun, and magical, which is something that the original movie had. And to go along with that is the performance that Timothèe Chalamet gives as his version of Willy Wonka. There are enough moments in the film that his version harkens back to the Gene Wilder version of the character, but he's able to make it his own without feeling like a copy or an imitation of the Gene Wilder version. He's his own character that has his own silliness and optimism, but there will be moments in his performance that remind you of Gene Wilder's version in the original film.
So quiet up and listen down. Nope, scratch that. Reverse it. I'm making chocolate, of course. How do you like it? Dark, white, nutty, absolutely insane. May I present Willy Wonka's Wild and Wonderful Wishy-Washy Wonka Walker? Please don't make me say that again.
What blew me away most is the fact that he sings, which brings a lot more talent into the performance of his version of Willy Wonka. I also enjoyed the side characters that he gets to tag along with. In the film, Wonka ends up in this situation with these scummy people who end up putting him and other people into basically doing slave labor, and they befriend each other to get out of this situation. You have a comedian, an accountant, a telephone operator, a plumber, and an orphan named Noodle, who all have their past histories as to why they're in this situation with Wonka. You get plenty of investment with them to the point where you want to see every single one of them get a happy ending. I enjoyed the way they are able to bring the Willy Wonka world to life. You have candy that do all of these magical powers, like you eat this chocolate and it makes you float, and like especially that one scene where the hair on people grow because, you know, the villains put something in Wonka's candy flowers. It's silly and goofy, but it's the right kind that fits well with the original Willy Wonka film. I enjoyed looking at the set design for the film with, you know, the factory, the stores, and even the main town, which has that aesthetic of the original film. Hugh Grant was entertaining as an Oompa Loompa, and his character has a funny background, as you know, we get to see how Willy Wonka first met an Oompa Loompa and his, you know, eventual relationship with them. I enjoyed the humor that he brought between him and Wonka, as, you know, it did get a chuckle out of me while watching the movie.
Allow me to refresh your memory.
Oh, I don't think I want to hear that.
Too late. I've started dancing now.
The movie has great music and songs. Like, they're catchy enough to get stuck in your head even when you listen to it, and even in the moment when you leave the theater. And in fact, when writing the script for this, I ended up listening to the soundtrack, and it made writing this a lot of fun. And I'm certain that this soundtrack may end up getting nominated for an Oscar. And I would like to, and really, it would just be fun to see Timothèe Chalamet performing any of the songs that hopefully it does get nominated for. The final positive that I have with this is that I think the movie does a good job of not going too far as a prequel to the original Willy Wonka movie. You can just watch this movie as its own thing, and, you know, it works well as being like the first chapter of the character of Willy Wonka. That is, if we get any sequels to this. But there's enough ties to the original film through visuals, direct lines, the candy that Wonka makes, and as well as even the song and musical cues that pretty much tie to both the Gene Wilder character and the original film. Like, it gets there to the point where you could watch this film as a prequel to that movie and then just watch the original Willy Wonka movie, and I think they would just work very well as a double feature. Moving to the negatives, and really the only negative I have with this is that I felt like the villains needed some better writing, if you will. When you get into Slugworth and his two other chocolatiers, and that, you know, they want Wonka out of town because he makes better candy than the three of them, and then when you have this reveal that Slugworth has in the third act, for me, that was just generic. Like, almost like on Disney villain level of generic. And look, I know that this movie, it's mainly for kids and families, and, you know, they can't go too mature with its characters, but I just wish that there was a lot more complex and a lot more to the villains than what we get in this film. But nonetheless, I enjoyed Wonka. It's an entertaining musical film for all ages that pretty much does come close to being just as good as the original Willy Wonka film. So if you're a Willy Wonka fan, I encourage you to check this film out. Filled with great songs, a great performance by Timothèe Chalamet, as well as an overall great feeling of the original Willy Wonka film. Watch it in theaters right now, and when it comes out on home media, buy it. But thank you guys so much for watching this review. Please tell me how you feel about this movie down in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this review and you would like to see more from me in the future, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you can get notified every single time I upload. I hope you all have a blessed life, and in case I don't ever get to meet you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.